this last night, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, governor of Arkansas.
Of the great state of Arkansas. The family tradition, as a matter of fact, down in the state of Arkansas.
That's
that
true.
Huckabee is governor.
That's true. I thought this was a very inspiring speech, and it felt good. It just because we're starving for someone in politics that still loves this country and isn't afraid to say so, she did.
I probably should have stayed up and watched it, but as soon as Dingleberry was done, our president. Joseph
I didn't watch this till this morning.
I could. I was
like,
I had to go.
Done.
I couldn't take any more. Mm-hmm. So this is the first time viewing for Sarah Huckabee Sanders and her Republican response. So we'll start off with her definition of the difference between the GOP and the Dems.
Yeah.
5 months ago, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. It was a hard time for our family, particularly our kids, Scarlett, Huck, and George. But we kept our faith and persevered. Thanks to exceptional doctors here in Arkansas, a successful surgery, and the grace of God, I am cancer-free.
That's awesome.
Through it all, I couldn't help but think about my mom. She was 20 years old and in her first year of marriage when she was diagnosed with spinal cancer. The doctors told her she might not live, and if she did live, they said she'd never walk again.
Wow.
And if she did walk, she'd definitely never have children.
Wow.
The daughter she was told she'd never have was just sworn in as the new governor of Arkansas and is speaking to you tonight.
Oh.
Adversity and fear of the unknown can paralyze us, but faith propels us to charge boldly ahead. We can't stand still in the face of great challenges. You and I were put on this earth for such a time as this, to charge boldly ahead. I'll be the first to admit, President Biden and I don't have a lot in common. I'm for freedom, he's for government control. At 40, I'm the youngest governor in the country. And at 80, he's the oldest president in American history.
Think about it.
I'm the first woman to lead my state. And he's the first man to surrender his presidency to a woke mob that can't even tell you what a woman is. In the radical left's America, Washington taxes you and lights your hard-earned money on fire. But you get crushed with high gas prices, empty grocery shelves, and our children are taught to hate one another on account of their race, but not to love one another or our great country. Whether Joe Biden believes this madness or is simply too weak to resist it, his administration has been completely hijacked by the radical left. The dividing line in America is no longer between right or left. The choice is between normal or crazy.
Yeah. That's a pretty incredible story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I knew that she had thyroid cancer, that she was diagnosed with that.
I don't think I did either.
And I'm trying to remember. I'm sure I probably heard Dad Huck talk about the wife's problems, but I didn't know about Sarah. Pretty incredible. She looks good too. She it looks like she got the thing taken care of. You know, the eye thing.
She had an eye thing?
Yeah, when she was press secretary, she had that wonky eye issue. That's a medical diagnosis, wonky eye issue, and I believe that's fixed now. Well, at least she looked good last night. Wow. Okay, so she went on to tell us that I'm sorry. Okay, I was just getting over the thyroid cancer thing, and I got to thinking about the wonky eye. She went on to tell us that
lazy eye?
That President Biden. No, it's not a lazy eye. It's a wonky eye. That's a medical term. Look it up.
Unnatural ptosis, one drooping eyelid.
Again,
or
wonky eye.
Or amblyopia, lazy eye. Or wonky eye.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
She went on to tell us that what. If you don't know, President Biden is unfit for office.
What? Wait, my President Biden?
She says.
What?
Americans want common sense from their leaders. But in Washington, The Biden administration is doubling down on crazy. President Biden inherited the fastest economic recovery on record.
Giving
The
Trump a
most
little
secure border in history, cheap, abundant, homegrown energy, fast rising wages,
love. Think about
a
that.
rebuilt military, and a world that was stable and at peace.
Wow.
But over the last 2
It
years,
feels like forever
Democrats
ago.
It sure does.
destroyed it all.
It sure does.
Destroyed it all
Despite
in 2
Democrats'
years.
trillions in reckless spending and mountains of debt, we now have the worst border crisis in American history. As a mom, my heart breaks for every parent who has lost a son or daughter to addiction. 100,000 Americans a year are now killed from drug overdoses, largely from fentanyl pouring across our southern border. Yet the Biden administration refuses to secure the border and save American lives. And after years of Democrat attacks on law enforcement and calls to defund the police, violent criminals roam free, while law-abiding families live in fear.
That's right.
Beyond our border, from Afghanistan to Ukraine, from North Korea to Iran, President Biden's weakness puts our nation and the world at risk. And the president's refusal to stand up to China, our most formidable adversary, is dangerous and unacceptable.
He shot down a balloon. Shut
President
up.
Biden is unwilling to defend our border, defend our skies, and defend our people. He is simply unfit to serve as commander-in-chief.
I mean, that's how do you argue with any of that?
You can't. You can't. I mean, she's obviously given plenty of love to Trump without actually saying his name, which was good. I mean, no doubt about that. But, boy, the destruction that has happened in the last 2 years is unbelievable.
When you say it like that, it hurts even more.
Yeah,
How
sure does.
How out of phase are we from where we were 2 years ago? And hell, go before COVID. 4
Yeah.
years ago, 3 years ago. I mean, it's just a completely different world.
It sure is, and it doesn't seem like you mentioned. It seems like forever ago. That for sure. I mean, things have moved along so fast that stuff that's 2 years old is ancient.
Right, and typically what will happen in a nation, they'll slowly change their policies. They'll slowly drift. Their political views will change one way or another over time. But see, when you have governments installed around the world from the WEF that are doing the bidding of Klaus Schwab and others, then you're able to just quickly turn on a dime and go ahead and get things done just like that.
Really?
And before you know it, you don't even recognize your country anymore.
Let alone the world.
Let alone the world.
Let alone the world. And if she mentioned Ukraine, well, Afghanistan too, but she mentioned Afghanistan. Who even thinks about that anymore?
Seriously. What I mean, that is one of the most embarrassing moments in American history. And by the way, we've been racking up a lot of them under this administration.
There's no doubt about that.
If it's not Afghanistan, it's the balloon thing. Remember, I mean, people forget how he was the first president in the history of Great Britain, the history of this country, that Great Britain's parliament, where they censure him, right? Or what was it? Or admonish him? Publicly admonish him. France recalled their ambassador? What? Over that deal we did with Australia.
Yeah.
It goes on. The Taliban, armed to the teeth now. Remember, he's gonna change the perception of America on the world stage.
Well,
They're gonna love us now.
Yeah, he's done that.